Today's show is on the post-UFO hearing discussion. The bodies of alleged ancient aliens were revealed during the Mexican UFO hearing, which also featured testimonies and reports about UFOs and encounters with non-human intelligences. A naval surgeon gave his conclusions during the event, and in this episode, we will look into the details of the hearing along with the story and history of these Nazca mummies. Hello and welcome to another episode of Mysteries with a History. We'll be taken on a wild ride into the unknown, the strange, and the mysterious. Like you, I have questions, and like you, I want answers. And with each episode together, we will peel away the layers to look for the truth. Let me bring in my co-host, Jimmy Church of Fade to Black Radio. Jimmy,
I'm not ready.
yes,
I'm not ready.
you gotta
did
be
that
ready.
on purpose. You did that on purpose. You were watching me, and you're like, "Yeah, catch him right now. Catch him right now." How you doing, Cristina? Big day. How you feeling today after yesterday?
Well,
15 hours on the air.
it really feels like that, but a lot has
did.
happened since this year, and there's been a lot of commentary. People have caught things that we didn't, and it's something that we need to cover in the best detail that we can. Those that are familiar with the UFO phenomenon, when they displayed the Nazca mummies, are like, really? You guys are really showing this? This isn't anything new. But for everyone else, they're like, oh my God, alien bodies. And overall, it was unexpected. It was exciting, regardless on if you believe it or not about these mummies. But you've been following that particular story since it came out into the public.
That's right.
So this is why I have you, Jimmy. This is why you're the best co-host, because you've been following this for a long time and you fill in all the gaps for me and for other people as well. But the first thing, before we get into the big part, the meat and potatoes here, let's kind of just briefly go over the hearing for those that didn't watch it. The link is below, by the way, in the description box with English subtitles and with a timeline index as well. So do take a look at that. But let's start off with the basics. So it took place in Mexico, and it took place in a government building. It was organized by Mexican ufologist Jaime Maussan. And what was interesting here is I remember making this mental note, and I wish I had stated it yesterday, but I didn't, was I wasn't aware of who was in the audience. We weren't really given any information if they were just your regular people, if they were media outlets, if they were a congressman. I wasn't aware, but you came across an article that said what, Jimmy?
Well, everything that I have found so far in the mainstream media, and that includes the Mexican media too, as well. So, and I reported on this earlier today, is they're using the word Congress, Mexican Congress, in the press releases that are going around right now in mainstream media in the United States. They are saying in front of Congress, scientists. And that was the audience. So I find that very interesting. And it's the same, everybody borrows from the same pool of press releases and rewrites and copies and paste. And that's
right.
Part of the media. It doesn't matter. It's been going on for centuries. So, but yes, so Congress, Mexican Congress, officials of the government, and scientists were the apparent audience there. I did. Let's move on really quick. But I did notice in the shots of the audience that everybody was pretty focused. Right?
Yes, and those were also very comfy chairs, by the way.
Probably very comfy, but I thought that they were very, very focused. Now it was kind of done the opposite of, and I suppose you could think of other countries doing it the same way, but the opposite of the United States, where you have a congressional panel in front of you, and then you are sitting at a witness table facing them and getting a barrage of questions, right? And doing your testimony that way. In this case, it was the opposite. They were sworn in at the beginning. We'll circle back to that point in just a second. And they were facing the Congress and then doing a presentation. So it was a very interesting way of doing things. I'm not familiar with Mexican politics or really politics around the world. I don't follow how different parliaments and houses of governments do their thing, but that's what we saw yesterday in this presentation or hearing, whatever you want to call it.
Mentioning the oath, let's get into that because I have the direct quote, and this is something that people are kind of on the fence about, and I don't necessarily blame them. But here is how it goes. So, yes, they were sworn under oath, but the key word here is symbolic oath. So, Jaime mentions to the person presenting this, states, it would be better if it would make people feel better if everyone swore under oath. And here's what it says. It says, Jaime asked me to make a symbolic oath. And Jaime emphasizes the importance it would have for many people to ask everyone to make a promise, to swear. So please rise. If you can promise to tell the truth in this instance of the legislative power, do you promise to tell the truth about everything you will say today under the legislative power? Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong. That's
Right.
intimidating.
It
You
is,
know,
it is, and people are really honing in on the word symbolic, and yet they are, to my understanding here, they are swearing under oath towards the legislative power here. Now, what does that mean? Are there any consequences? I don't actually know that, but when you're under that kind of pressure, yeah, of course you want to tell the truth, but can people lie? Yes, they do all the time. It doesn't matter what country you're in, they're going to do it. But you have to
right.
take it at face value. That's all you can do.
Yeah, and by saying symbolic, um, how are we interpreting that word at that point?
Right.
That this is just a gesture, or is this that we normally reserve this for sworn testimony in a legislative session? This is not an official legislative session. We're still going to do it. Therefore, it is symbolic. It's how do you want to interpret it? Again, I don't know. I need clarification on that. But going through the process, I think does make a statement, and using words like legislative and putting the official label on all of this, that this is a congressional situation. This is part of the Mexican government. This is done in an official government, Mexican government building, that there is this air, this aura of officiality to all of this. So I'm not a big insider on Mexican politics and how they do things, so I can't really comment any further, other than I'm glad that they did it.
Me, I am as well. And there's one thing that I really do want to bring up. But first of all, thank you for everyone watching this live. We have 2,000 people watching this. Hit the like button if you are enjoying everything that you're hearing so far. We only have about 400 likes, but 2,000 people watching. Juan, thank you so much. And Terry, thank you for that as well, for supporting the channel. But one thing that I saw, because now all of a sudden the mainstream media is covering it. How long did it take? Hours. It took
Yeah,
hours.
yeah,
But
yeah. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
it's very cool. I'm glad they're covering it. And we had this question yesterday, Jimmy, especially on the phone afterward, is, was this official? Was this run by Congress, or was this just run by Jaime? We weren't given that information. Well, according to News Nation, and they've really been on the ball with just like UFO news in general, they said that it was an official government hearing. But was it? I'm not sure. I couldn't find the paper trail for that, but I found it interesting that News Nation is stamping it and saying, yes, it's an official government hearing. Which is, if that's the case,
Right.
that makes us a big deal.
Yeah, right. And so the takeaway from that, and thank you for putting it that way. We need to do a couple of things here. The presentation is done. It's over. All right. I think that the ideas behind the presentation and what was the goals of this presentation, very effective. All right. So I think that part of it was great. The other part, though, is like with anything else like this, you need to remain objective. You need to sit right in the middle, and you need to let history play itself out here. Like you said earlier, I have been involved with this, with these mummies and the reveal of this since the very beginning, going back to 2017. Officially, this started to hit the streets in about 2018. I have got terabytes of emails, letters, statements, videos, images, photographs, maps of all of this from the very, very beginning. I was very surprised to see these revealed. Now, if we look at the timing of all of this, and again, I want everybody to just remain objective, stay in the middle. Don't go one way or the other. Don't dismiss this as being a hoax. Don't go all in that these are alien bodies from reticuli. No, just stay in the middle and let history play itself out. But that being said, the absence of this for the last 5 years, because there was a big blow up about all of this in 2018. It was overshadowed and kind of went away after TTSA and Lou Elizondo and the Tic Tac comes on the scene and those videos and everything else that has played out since then. So most of the people that saw these bodies yesterday had never seen them before. They had never heard of this before. And this goes back historically, back to 2018, and there was a lot of information and drama centered around these. There was a point at, and I remember when I was hosting Coast to Coast, and that week when the first set of mummy videos had hit, in 2 days, Christina, 2 days, those videos got 75 million views. And I remember announcing this out to the world, and then that was the first set of mummies and videos, and then the smaller ones, the ones that were presented yesterday, came out over the next month or so too as well. There's a long documentary series, multi-part, over on Gaia that everybody can go and check out, where X-rays, tissue samples, doctors, and of universities here in the United States were looking at those images and checking those out from the very, very, very beginning. Now, there's a lot of researchers that have looked into this on both sides. Jaime took the ball and ran with it. The case went away for about 4 years, and I had followed up on this many, many times, including as recently as last week when I was in the UK, because I was hanging out with some of the original investigators on this over in the UK, and I said, "Hey, what's the deal with the DNA? What's the deal?" Well, okay, there's stuff going on, and then boom, we have this week. So I was pretty surprised. I'm excited about the DNA evidence. The testimony that happened yesterday, not only with the Navy surgeon, but the biologist and the other comments that were made there. The position, and I'll hand it back to you right now, the position that we're in right now is it's now out. It's been replayed. Here we go. The analysis is there. The paperwork is there. And now we can have people like Gary Nolan and others, and anthropologists and biologists and chemists, here in the United States and around the world, look at the data, look at the analysis, look at the DNA evidence, and see how we move forward. And that's where we are. We have to let history play this out, and we'll see where we're at.
These are very great points, and ones that I can agree with here. It is up for the media, journalists, the public to make up their own minds on this. Is this real? Is this a hoax? You have two camps, and you have different research to attempt and prove both sides. There has been some stuff posted on the alienproject.com. I will place that link in the description box of them going into detail and actually showing the analysis and the data of the research conducted on these Nazca mummies. Again, that link will be in the description box by the end of the show. But before we continue, for those that didn't watch the hearing yesterday, I'd like to just kind of give you a summary on what happened. So, we had an international panel, people from many parts of the world, and a lot of them were sharing their personal stories, their personal encounters, or stating that our country, whatever country they are coming from, need to be more transparent when it comes to the UFO phenomenon and collecting data. That was the overall theme of this hearing. And then in about 2.5 hours, 3 hours in, Jaime says, I have a surprise for you. And then he's saying, David Grush knows about the bodies. David Grush knows this. David Grush knows that. And I really thought Jaime was hyping for the special guest to be David Grush to walk on stage. Like, that was what I was expecting. And then they have these boxes out. They take off the cloth, right? And then bam, bam, alien bodies, or as they are calling here, non-human entities, because there were tests done on them. There were some very interesting presentations, one of them done by the Mexican Naval Surgeon with a truly incredible background, and we're going to get into that rather shortly. And he did about a 15-20 minute presentation on his findings that he spent a year researching. And there were multiple tests that were conducted, and I can actually read it verbatim on the tests that were done. So it says here, actually, let me pull up the image so I can go ahead and read it to you. But here we go. Here's his presentation. He's showing interesting images, and it says here, it is an honor for me to present on such a high platform the results of my analysis derived from the study of the anatomy of these non-human bodies. As a forensic doctor, in collaboration with the biologist Jose de la Cruz Rios, and based on the results of various scientific evidence such as X-rays, computed tomography, three-dimensional reconstructions, microscopic and macroscopic analysis, histography, carbon 14, forensic anthropology, comparative anatomy and DNA analysis, which is the queen of evidence in forensic sciences for comparative studies, I can confirm that these bodies are not related to human beings. And then he continues into detail on some of the things that they found. For instance, in the abdomen, we have evidence we have evidence of the presence of 3 eggs that, thanks to the tomography, we are able to show at a millimetric level, which is really interesting here. And then there are images of that. And now I'm just kind of skimming through his speech that he gave. But he says here, finally, I want to point out that the DNA analysis, after being compared with more than 1 million registered species, we found that there is a significant difference between what is known about these bodies. These studies were carried out in various high-level institutions, both national and international, and the results gave evidence that 70% of the genetic material coincides with what is known, but there is a difference of 30%. And what is the relevance of this? Well, if the human being compared to primates has a differentiation of less than 5% and compared to bacteria, well, then that's less than 15%. And this could indicate the difference found of more than 30%. And this is something totally outside the parameter and of what can be expected. And this is foreign to what is described and known at the moment by human beings. That was translated, by the way, so it wasn't absolutely perfect, but we get the gist of what is
Mhm.
going on here. And if this was just like a casual, like UFO conference, right? People would listen to it, but many would brush it off. But this coming from a naval surgeon speaking in front of very credible people, both on the panel, but also apparently the audience as well, which are said to be congressmen, And he's also putting his credentials on the line because his military rank is lieutenant commander, and his background includes a master's degree in forensic medicine from the Military School of Health graduates of the Mexican Army. He specializes in national security intelligence from the prestigious National Institute of Public Administration. He has a diploma in aerospace medicine awarded by the Mexican Air Force under the Ministry of Defense. He has a diploma in forensic anthropology from the renowned National School of Anthropology and History. He has an aerospace medicine diploma as well. And this is something that if you have those things, on your back, you're not playing around. Now, could that not be true? People are going to say so, and I'm not here to sway you one way or another, but these are things worth mentioning when listening to this presentation. Like, he seems as if he is a credible person because he has dedicated his life to this type of research. So I
Yes.
did want to mention that.
Yeah, no, you have to. You have to go there. If for somebody that I try my best, I'm not perfect, to stay in the middle and not get swayed one way or the other until something definitive is there, where science steps in and says, "Hey, okay, this is what is going on." But when you have the thing that kind of tips it just a little bit for me, there's something here we need to take a look at, and away from the hoax side of things, and kind of tips it that way, is this presentation under oath by somebody, a member of the military, somebody that has a career and credentials behind them, to stand up and say these things in front of a government body. That's a bit different. This isn't, History Channel. This isn't, and I'm not saying anything against History Channel, but I'm saying in an unofficial capacity. It kind of tips it in that way. Why would somebody go and do this? And it smells and looks and tastes just like the UFO hearing that we had at Congress when Fravor and Grush and Graves took an oath and stood there and took questions from the members of Congress. And when you have David Grush stating the things that he had said, we have flying saucers and we have bodies. This is incredible stuff, but you have to weigh it against, raising your right hand and swearing under oath. So that's what we have here. So it's a valid point, Cristina. And I think that is something that we should all recognize. As fantastical and as crazy as all of this seems to get, we have to look at the presentation itself and how this was done. Let's not let that part of it get away from us. But we do need to have other scientists, other universities, other laboratories take a look at the evidence, maybe retest, look at, obviously MRIs and take their own X-rays and look at their own studies. I've done one. This is, I always say this, right? It's my eyes. I always depend on my eyes. And I looked at for years now on these mummies, the X-rays and the claims from many that it was chicken skin and chicken bones and Chihuahua heads and British bulldogs and different bones that were sutured together and put together and then covered and I don't think, I could be way off here. I don't think taxidermy is at that kind of level where you are going to turn around and fool doctors, right? And so when you look at that, that's just my take. I could be way wrong. But when you look at the X-rays and you look at how the bones match up and you see it doesn't look put together. It looks natural to me. And I've looked at all of the X-rays and I've listened to other doctors from the United States look at those X-rays and go, wow, that's pretty nuts. So I keep going back to the same point. We have to have history play out here, and we have to have many, many, many other professionals and groups and universities look at this material and see what they have to say.
The more eyes, the better. And right now, and thank you for everyone that's watching this live. We have 4,000 people watching this live. I want to say welcome to all of our new viewers. Definitely subscribe, as we do a lot of UFO related live shows several times a week.
1,000 likes. 1,000 likes.
Killing it. Y'all are killing it. Thank you so much for that.
Right
So
on.
continue on liking it if you're enjoying what you're seeing. And before we move forward, Brian, thank you for that. He says, I've seen the other mummies and did a super chat last night about them looking like Skinny Bob, but I've never seen these two bodies before. These have been in the news. I mean, people are somewhat familiar with these, but are not as popular as like Maria, for instance, which is another mummy in Peru. True says, and thank you. Where were they found, and was there any more evidence found with them? So these were found in Peru, kind of in different areas. But we're gonna
Now,
get into that.
Actually, let's clarify that. Okay, so
Okay,
you
please.
just brought up Maria. Maria was found in Nazca, and there
Right.
are burial sites, mummies, and tombs in the Nazca area, in the Nazca Plains. That's where Maria was found. Maria was this ginormous mummy, kind of like in the fetal position, 3 fingers, 3 toes, long hands, just an amazing thing to see. So and then these were found in mine shafts in Cusco, not in Nazca. So it's 2 different locations. These are not the Nazca mummies. That all of this was revealed at the same time, though, back in 2018.
Yes, and I'm going to quickly share that image for those that may not be familiar. This one is not a great image, but I pulled it up as fast as I could. So here is that image of Maria, and we're just kind of seeing like the top half, but she's in a fetal position. She has the 3 fingers, and
This is just incredible to see. Now, so covered in this white dust, this white powder, which I found interesting. And I was talking about this with one of the researchers last week in the UK. The name of this particular powder, the chemical name of it, escapes me at the moment. But yes, that was analyzed too as well. And there were tissue, I can't officially say because they weren't supposed to take the tissue samples out of the country. But let's say if you were going to do DNA testing, you would want to take some tissue samples and you would want to get them to a lab. And so that's what I would have done. Wink, wink. Now, go back to the little guys.
okay.
Somebody just asked if there was other stuff that. Okay, so you mentioned the 3 eggs that were in the abdomen of one of these, and that's one of the first things that I had said from the beginning. Get at those eggs. Let's look at those. Let's MRI those. Let's X-ray those. Let's see what we have. Okay, and not in this image, but there were metallic breastplates that were used, that were found, made of 2 different types of metal that were binding the chest parts together. A very, very interesting thing. If you're going to hoax, that's a complex thing to do. But I'm not saying anything is possible. It could be done. But these were rare metals. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the carbon dating on these specimens and other stuff that were found in the tombs constantly points back to 1,000 to 1,200 years ago. And what kind of metallurgy of exotic metals was going on in Peru 1,000 years ago? I don't know. We're talking about rare earth elements that are used. This wasn't steel. This wasn't bronze. It wasn't copper. And it's not in this image, but that was another part to this that I've always found really intriguing. Like, if you're going to hoax it, why would you do something that could really be analyzed? You kind of want to stay in the other direction. The other part that I want to mention before we move on, there's been a lot of talk of a mixture of different types of animals that were used to create these: dogs, chickens, chicken skin, and other animal parts, bones and tissue and stuff. It would seem to me, and again, I could be way off base here and way wrong, but I would think that you're running DNA tests on the tissue samples of the skin, and it comes back as chickens. You know it, right? And then you do another sample of the bone, and the bone is coming back as Chihuahua or whatever, British Bulldog, right? And you know that, or bear, or fox, or whatever it may be, a pig. I don't know, but it would come back as that. Now, to suggest that what the surgeon said yesterday, that 30%, it's 30% human, right? Is that what
30% unknown.
30% unknown, 70% human? No, I don't know. What is 30% unknown? And how much of this is human DNA? I haven't heard any mention of any known animal species coming off of this. And if it was indeed chicken skin or pig skin or whatever it was that was used to wrap these mummies up, I don't know how you would do it without cut marks. How do you put the skin? How do you grow the skin back together? I think that would be really evident. I'm not saying these are real, but I'm saying that how would you? It seems that a doctor would go, no, man, no. You can see the lines. You can see how the skin was formed and laid out and pieced together and put on here. No, this is bogus and get this out of here. But that doesn't seem to be the case. And if you're going to take a tissue sample of the skin, it's going to come back as something known. It's not going to come back as so that it's perplexing to me. It's completely perplexing. I wish I was a doctor or I had some more background in something like this. I certainly believe that Dr. Gary Nolan needs to be in on this, and he needs to.
We're going to talk about that because he did touch on this. But first thing is, the Naval Surgeon says 70% of the genetic material coincides with what is known, but there is a difference of 30%. Now, what does it mean by what is known? Well, I guess that's up to interpretation. And Android, thank you. It says, if the alien bodies, X-rays, and DNAs were verified, then do you believe it'll make the U.S. government look bad intentionally? Because Mexico did disclose first and call out the Pentagon for covering it up for years. This is an interesting point, and one that I think it's a valid point, and one that I think was intentional when they were sharing the bodies like to the world here, stating, because there was that big hype. I mean, Jaime was really hyping it, and then bam, right? We see this, and it's something that is rather peculiar, but I would a quick announcement actually is that if you're watching this right now, right here, tomorrow I'll also be live streaming the NASA UFO media briefing tomorrow morning early at 7 a.m. PST with a commentary right after. So make sure to hit the notification bell so that you do not miss it. I mean, right now it's really big. When it comes to UFO news, we have this, and then we have the NASA hearing coming out tomorrow, which is something that I wasn't expecting. It's very, very late, by the way, for those that have been following the story, but I find it almost a little too coincidental that it's happening right after the Mexican hearing. The Late Horror Show, thank you, says, I think this past year and this briefing in particular is no doubt of what has been going on. How can everything that has been shown be denied?
Yeah, it's a whole lot. If we look at we have another. Let's see. Where'd it go? Who's clicking who now?
Okay, I'll let you do it.
Oh, I think I just deleted something. Oh, maybe I didn't. I think Mexico has staged up the United States regardless of the results. The fact that Mexico did this is a positive. Even if these mummies are not ETs, it is phenomenal. 30% unknown DNA is massive. We deserve the truth, whatever it is.
Thanks.
And it goes back to my point. I will keep driving this home. Just like Grush or anything else. Grush is just recent memory. But just like anything else, going back to December of 2017, It's bringing this out into the public. It's moving this forward. It's no longer something funny or to joke about. It's in the mainstream media. We've got governments talking about it. We've got militaries talking about it, and we've got the public awareness completely raised on this. So no matter what, and back to your point there, Spectre Wolf, I think it's a good one. That it's raising it out. It's getting it out there, and we are discussing this out in the open, and I think that's fantastic.
It definitely is. And Old Crow, thank you. The Bloke and Teresa, thank you, all of you, for supporting the channel as well. But then the question would be, are they making fun of the UFO community? Let's just say, for an instance, this is fake. Let's say that these mummies are completely not real, like what half of the internet is saying. It's a total hoax, right? Let's just go into that mentality for a second. It doesn't matter if you believe them or not. Just put that aside. Do you think that if that were to be the case, they're just making an entire joke to once again bring back that stigma? Or is this something that is truly positive that is going to help elevate the conversation?
Yeah, and so let's talk about that for a second. I think that's a very important point. Could there be, the government cover up, the secrecy, the lies, the misinformation, the disinformation, and this is a plan to discredit Jaime Maussan. This is a plan to embarrass the UFO community. We know that these creatures are not of Earth. We know this, but let's go ahead and do this, and then we'll figure out something else later. But let's just embarrass Jaime and everybody else that's involved with this. And now there's that part of it. We know that they're fake. So let's put it on Jaime. Let him get some more egg on his face, and we know UFOs are real, but we need to obfuscate. We need to hide. We need to move. We get a shell game going on. Could it be all of that? Yes. And it's been going on for a very, very long time. This situation, just going back to the stuff that went on in our own Congress. This time it feels a little bit different. This played out 6 years ago in 2018, almost 6 years ago in 2018. It went away. It is now back. Okay. I find that incredibly fascinating. Why is this surfacing again? If Jaime didn't have something there and everybody else that is involved with this, why would they bring it back if it was already proven to be a hoax? Why would you do that? Why would you make that effort? Why would you do that live on television? Why would you do that, in front of the Mexican Congress? Why would you do all of that? So I don't know. Could it be? It's possible. It is entirely possible that this is a plan. Maybe it's the Peruvian government. maybe it got out of control. We've got so many other things that are coming out of Central and South America right now. We've got what just happened in Argentina. We've got what happened in Peru allegedly last month. We've got that going on. We've got Mexican artifacts coming out of the ground being sold on eBay. We've got that going on. Are those real or not? Are some of them real? Are the rest fake? Just like what if it plays out like this? Like Maria is real, but these are not. Or these are real and Maria is not. Right. And then one swings one way or the other, and then it covers up the reality that is happening. So this is the world of UFOs, Cristina. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible, and there is a lot of obfuscation, as they say in this community, but a lot of misinformation, disinformation as well. So everyone is skeptical. Everyone feels like that they need to ask questions. They're asking themselves, are we being lied to? Are we not? Is this true? Is this not? And it's ripping people's minds apart because people are skeptical. And Voodoo Tube, thank you for that. Thank you. And Cindy, thank you for that as well. It could be an ancient civilization here prior to humans question. This is something that people are asking. And Chicho, thank you for that as well. Peter, thank you for that. Y'all are all awesome. Just thank you so much. But he says, Could it be that disclosure is going to be an international effort, that many countries will work together in concert to bring this out? And this is a really great question because we mentioned this yesterday. This is not a UFO Twitter issue. This is not an American issue. This is a world issue. Everyone is interested in this topic. We all want the answers. Everyone wants to know what is going on here. And Old, thank you for that, says, seems like this doesn't impact national security much. Maybe not these aliens in particular, but it's all about the words used. It's about the rhetoric. It's about knowing how to manipulate the situation. And if we instill a level of have it be, worry or fear or a threat narrative, right? It's going to bring attention and funding. If everything's great, everything's unicorn and butterflies, there's no need to worry, no one's going to pay attention to it. There's not going to be any research done. But the threat narrative aspect to it is something that is can be beneficial in some ways, but detrimental in others. One thing that, if you've been following it since yesterday, let's bring in what Ryan Graves had to say about it on Twitter. I'm going to share this image here. And Jimmy, if you could please do the honors of reading his tweet. Let's pull this up. Here it is.
Yeah. He says, after the U.S. Congressional UFO hearing, I accepted an invitation to testify before the Mexican Congress, hoping to keep up the momentum of government interest in pilot experiences with UAP. Unfortunately, yesterday's demonstration was a huge step backwards for this issue. My testimony centered on sharing my experience in the UAP reports I hear from commercial pilots or from commercial and military air crew through ASA's witness program. I will continue to raise awareness of UAP as an urgent matter of aerospace safety, national security, and science, but I am deeply disappointed by this unsubstantiated stunt. Now, oh man, this is part of showmanship. And Jaime Maussan and his approach to doing things sometimes is a bit different. Ryan didn't do his homework. All right. Now, would I declined an invitation from Jaime to go down to Mexico City. I did. Richard Dolan accepted that invitation. I declined it. And this was when he had these alleged photographs of this little alien mummy. And a lot of research went into that beforehand. And I just didn't want to do it. So I declined that invitation. Ryan, and just like Richard Dolan, and what he had gone through at that time, you don't know in advance necessarily what's about to happen. So would Ryan have accepted that invitation if he knew that they were going to roll alien bodies out on the stage, right, in glass coffins? Would he? Apparently not. I wouldn't have done it. In this case, with something like this, I wouldn't have done it. Let others deal with it and let it play out. For Ryan and what he does, this isn't his thing. So yeah, I don't think Ryan's reputation was hurt, and I appreciate his. I don't think anybody's reputation was hurt, but in Ryan's case, he just doesn't want to be associated with this, and he calls it a stunt. He's entitled to his opinion, and it was actually, but yeah. So I think Ryan's just fine. You have nothing to worry about, Ryan. Everything is cool.
No, he showed up and he gave a good speech, one that we did here at the hearing in the States, but he was able to give it to Mexico as well. And I think that is very impactful. AJ Raffles, thank you for that. And Lou says, Jaime is a known fraud. He did it because it was a huge stage to sell his wares. This is a known scam. Why are we entertaining this as significant?
Well, we've already been through that. Yeah, we've already been through that. Let's say this one more time. All right. This is in front of Congress. This isn't a TV show. This isn't TMZ. This is again a symbolic swearing in and done in front of a government body. So, yeah, you do have to use your discernment, but you have to pay attention. You have to. You have to. And just by and looking at that comment that was up here, whoever that was, it's past me now. You're here listening to this show. You're here, right? You're here. You're here listening because you have to. You have to pay attention. You just can't dismiss this. History has a way of being correct. So let's let it play out. Let's let everybody take a look at this. Let's get some more eyes on this and some more studies done and move forward. You mentioned that Gary Nolan chimed in. What did he say?
Yes, I have it here. And so he says these were brought to me, the paperwork for these mummies, several times. I have reached my attention limit. They were already enough experts on board, so they didn't need me, TBH. And there was other commentary, and I thought I screenshotted it, but it doesn't look like I did. But you can find it on his Twitter, and I'm paraphrasing here, mentioning that based off of the paperwork that he saw prior, it wouldn't slide necessarily when it comes to the kind of papers that he writes. Now, could that change? He is waiting for more data, and then he might look at it from there. So.
See, that's that right there is exactly how you should look at it. Hey, you can't draw any conclusions. So let's reanalyze this and take another look and see what we've got. That's all. That's it. You can't dismiss it. Why would you want to dismiss it?
Right. You got to be on the fence with this. You can't be one way or the other, but just saying, look, when more data comes out and when more research comes forward, I will look into it. But at this point in time, I've already reached my attention limit. Those are his exact words. And we'll see what the future holds. So yeah, I think...
Cristina, can I say this?
Please.
Well, I'm going to. Even if a flying saucer landed on the 405 freeway, landed on the 95 on the East Coast, landed right there. Aliens come down, live streaming on Facebook, right out for the world to see on Twitch, right there, man, just like lighting it up. And that was going down. You're going to have, it's my lab. It's a hoax. Those are actors. That's people in costumes. That's not real. It's Project Bluebeam. That's a hologram. That's Tupac. That's you're gonna have that, and it's fine. Fine. You're entitled to your opinion, and I'm not saying that this is ET or this is anything else or these are chicken bones. I don't know, but let the professionals step in and analyze this. That's it.
Those are the best people to look at it, because people are looking at pictures and calling it a hoax just merely off of the images. They don't count. And yet people listen to them because maybe they're classified as influencers. But if you're not actually doing the tests, if you're not doing the sufficient research, your opinion does not mean much. It does not hold significant weight. But those that are literally looking at it, doing the data analysis and everything in between, their word is more valuable. Why? Because they are looking at it, they are touching it, they are working with it. But just an image, and then for you to say, no, it's totally fake, or it's 100% real, based off of that one image, I'm really sorry to say, this is going to hurt a few people, your opinion is invalid. There for the debate.
It's true. It's true. But why? Here's the other part of this. Somebody went through a lot of trouble, if it's a hoax, to absolutely pull off the most brilliant hoax in like the history of everything.
Well, then, right? Jimmy, we could also bring up the Roswell autopsy video that was released by Fox News in 1995. Is this something similar?
No. You know why? Because you looked at that video and went, that's fake, right? I mean, you can just look at it and you knew that wasn't real. In this case, We're talking about major medical professionals, looking at, and there has, listen, everybody, I have to say this. So don't quote me and make a meme. I'm not saying it's aliens. What I am saying is we've had DNA testing. We've had x-rays done. We've had tissue samples. We've had many medical professionals, not armchair UFO skeptics from, some blog looking at pictures. We've had a lot of this done, and apparently people are being fooled if it's a hoax. So how do you pull that off? How do you build this? How do you make this? Somebody needs to be rich. I mean, this is beyond Hollywood. This is beyond Spielberg. And I'm not saying again it's aliens. I'm saying, man, if it is faked, somebody did a really, really good job. Look at that. I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy to me. So now it could be. Oh, I'm sorry, I just interrupted you. But the other part though, with the eggs, why would you do something like that if you're doing a hoax where you're going to put something in there that can obviously be debunked? I mean, obviously, where is this coming from? And it also spins everything off of human to reptilian, right? Isn't it reptiles and birds that have eggs? And I'm going to make another point.
And the platypus.
Platypus has eggs? Oh,
yes.
right.
Oh, but I do want to state that we have 4,800 people watching. Unbelievable. Hit the like button if you are enjoying the show. Let YouTube know that you want to see more content like this. Want more people to cover this topic, because the mainstream media was late. But here we are going into detail on the Mexican UFO hearing.
Now, let me state something else. There's something okay, this is where it gets really fantastical. When I say fantastical, not like a Jets fan or a Colts fan. I'm talking about pushing the boundaries of what you can imagine. The structure of the neck indicates a retractable head.
That was what was said during the hearing.
This was said to me years ago. And now think about it like a turtle, right? Now throw that into the mix. If you're going to fake that, how are you doing? How? I mean, I just want to know. And was this, are there more? Right? Or was this a visitation? Now let's go to the other side. Let's say that these are actual ETs, right? Was this a visitation? Did the ship crash? Did they get left behind? Was there a mutiny, right? And the ship left them there, and that was it? There were no more? Or was this a previous civilization that lived here? Did they live among us? That's the other part about this. Now, this is only 1,000 years ago. Right, this isn't deep antiquity. This isn't millions of years or 100,000 years. It's 1,000 years ago. Human beings were living in Peru at that time. The United States was occupied 1,000 years ago. Think about that, right? And so, who and what were they? Don't know. It's fascinating. I have no idea how you would open the door by adding eggs to this, and the metallurgy and the breastplates and the other stuff that was fashioned and attached to this, if it wasn't something else. So I don't know. I can't wait to get to the end of this.
It's bizarre, and there hopefully will be more information to come, because I said this yesterday and I'll say it again. There is no putting the toothpaste back in the tube, or the can of worms, something, as they say. But it's true. There's no coming back from this. And back, thank you. It says, if only the US government would have come clean after Roswell, we'd be living in an entirely different world. All about the money to them. So sad. And William, thank you for that twice. And Ferrozo, pretty sure I'm saying that right, says at the end of the hearing, there was an open invitation to scientists, researchers to study these mummies, to run tests, to provide their authentication. And this is something, okay, I'm glad you bring this up because Ronnie Vernet, who was a speaker there, did make a tweet, and I have the screenshot for this one. And it says here that they want more people to look into this. And I'm going to share the exact tweet. Here it is. Pulling up right now. If it wants to pull up. There we go. So here is that tweet. And then while people are reading this on YouTube, Jimmy, I'll let you read it in just a moment. But Juan, thank you for that. If true, I waited 43 years for this day. Yeah, totally a big deal. And Sen, thank you for that. Gary Nolan posted an analysis by GPT showing who we need to verify this information with a cost estimation. Interesting. Total cost between 1.1 million to 2.6 million needs some serious funding. Thanks for bringing that up. That's great information.
Well, it looks like I'm not going to buy that Star Wars X-Wing fighter this week. I'll go ahead and fund this analysis. So it says, this is from Ronnie Vernet. He says, the information I have about it is limited. Some people showed the results of many analysis, forensics, genetics, C14, carbon 14, CT scans, X-rays, and said it's non-human. Fortunately, they are open to other researchers to do their own evaluation to corroborate or discredit it. Exactly.
That's the best way to approach it.
That's it. Yeah, it's just fascinating. Look at that. It's just mind-blowing to me.
It is. And that is the only way for people to make up their own minds truly, is if they have the data and if they're able to look at it and say, okay, I'm going to do the research on my own and make up my own minds. But as Gary Nolan did the estimate, it's about $1.1 to $2.6 million to conduct more tests on it. Jaime Maussan mentioned in the hearing that it costed that they spent millions of pesos to get the tests done. It was a year of testing, but there were testings done prior to the ones that the Mexican group did. People were asking, because people like those that have already spoken about this, and Jaime mentioned a university. Now we didn't get the name of the university. I have it, and I'm going to attempt and find where I put it. But it's one of the most prestigious universities in Latin America. And
I have it here too.
Okay, I have it. It is the Autonomous National University of Mexico, where scientists had been able to extract DNA and use radiocarbon dating to establish an age in that university for these mummies. And it is a public research university in Mexico, and it is widely regarded as a top research university in Latin America. Fun fact, it was found in 1910.
Fun fact. And, and so where, with everything, right, where do we go from here? Because if we just look at this week has been dramatic, and we're not done yet. Right? We had the release about the James Webb Space Telescope finding plankton on a planet. Plankton, man, on a planet 120 light years away. And that is huge news.
And
right?
then tomorrow.
And what happens tomorrow? NASA? NASA, you're going to be broadcasting live first thing in the morning. Yeah, I'm going to be on a private jet. Sorry about that. I won't be hanging out with you tomorrow. Got other stuff I got to do. But where do we go from here? Now, is Bill Nelson the press release that came out today about tomorrow? I found it pretty interesting because Bill Nelson and NASA said this. Let me pull this up here. I just for a quick quote. NASA defines UAP observation of events in the sky that cannot be identified as aircraft or known natural phenomena from a scientific perspective. The NASA report aimed to, and the group to inform NASA on what possible data could be collected in the future to shed light on the nature and origin of UAP. The report, and I'm quoting here from the NASA press release, the report is not a review or assessment of previous unidentifiable observations. This now, so what they're talking about, how to define what they are seeing from here moving forward. That opens the door to a lot of perspective here. I don't know how to take this. Now, this is the other thing. 1 hour before their presentation, which will happen tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, you are going to be broadcasting this live at
right.
At 7 a.m., correct?
Yeah, PST.
Well, you have to get up at 6 a.m. You know why?
Because I got to put on makeup.
No, well,
and eat breakfast.
No, okay, so you got to get up at 5:30 because at 6, yeah, this is not a good day, is it? They are releasing the full report 1 hour before their press conference. The full report, not a redacted, not an unclassified, but their full report is going to be released 1 hour before their hearing tomorrow, which will be at 10 a.m. Eastern. And this is coming from NASA's national headquarters in Washington, D.C.
That's big news.
It's a big week. It's a heavy week, man. What's next?
Heck yeah.
We've got flying triangles over Argentina. We've got armed miners with jetpacks in Peru. We had the UFO hearing yesterday in Mexico City. We've got NASA tomorrow. It's a big news week. So where do we go from here, Cristina? What's the next step?
The sky's the limit here. There is no going back from this. But overall, the biggest takeaway, the thing where to go from here is the question that so many of us ask, is not only attempting to get more transparency from our government, which is what many people want, but the biggest thing is the more people that are knowledgeable in this topic, the more people that will ask bigger and better questions, and then those that will push for that transparency. Because if it's only a handful, like a small group of people that are interested in this topic, you're not really going to get anywhere. But if it's a lot of people, a huge population, that's when things begin to change significantly. We have seen this nice like disclosure drop for about a decade or two. 2017 hit, the ball started rolling. And then from 2022 to 2023, I mean, it is speeding up fast. What's next? Well, I think the more information that comes forward, people are going to start taking this even more seriously. And then hopefully we won't receive so many comments and naysayers saying, it's a hoax. Why are you believing all of this? I think that is where we're going to go next.
Now, everybody wanted, you hear these comments over and over again. I see them, you see them, I hear them. Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Okay, that's fine. David Grush, okay, there was a lot of this, but where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? And my position was always that wasn't Grush's job. And that's not, make Congress aware of it, let them go and move forward. That's what you do. You get out there, you get on camera, you get on record, and you swear to tell the truth, and you put this out there and let people go to work. That's what you do. Well, okay, but everybody complained. Where's the evidence? Where's the bodies? Where's the bodies? Well, we all want that, right? Okay, I get that. So then we have a hearing where the bodies are rolled out, photographs, things, images, experts, everything else, and then that's not good enough either. And so I don't know what the next step is. And I know I was making light earlier, Cristina, and I'm not making fun of the subject, but no matter what, your belief system and what you believe in probably is not going to change. No matter what is presented for you, hoax evidence, or it's ET evidence, is not going to change your mind. It's not, it's just not. No, it cements your belief system. So it comes out, it's proven as a hoax. Then if your belief system in ETs are real is now stronger. Somebody's playing against you. Somebody is misinformation. This is done for it cements your belief system. It comes out as ETs are real. Those that are in the debunking hoax world, their belief system is cemented. It's strong. You're not going to change people's minds with whatever is presented, and you're never going to make everybody happy. That's the reality of the situation. It just doesn't matter how it's going to play out. You can go right now, not believe in anything, not believe in the afterlife, don't believe in dreams, don't believe in synchronicities, don't believe in consciousness, don't believe in anything. That the world is nothing but chemicals and chemistry and science. That's it. And you live in this 2D world. And you wake up and you turn around and you see the ghost of your dead mother standing in your bedroom and you have a conversation with her, right? That doesn't mean you believe in ghosts. You're going to make up something in your mind. It's just going to cement your belief system. Yeah, that's chemistry messing with the way my mind works. And it forced me to imagine this and to hallucinate this situation. That's the world that we live in. All right. I don't play around with this. It's just the way that it is. So let's let it play out. Let's get some more science in on this and let's see where we're at. But Jaime's not here to change people's minds. I'm not here to do that. You're just not. It's not going to happen. It's
all we can do is provide the information and allow you, the viewers and listeners, to make up your own mind on what you think and believe. And that's all that matters, is what you think and believe for yourself, because that's how you're going to view the world. That is how you're going to interpret the information provided. That's how you're going to ask questions, have them be better or worse. It doesn't matter. It's all up to you. And that's why I always enjoy doing these shows with you, Jimmy, is because you fill in the gaps on pieces of information that I never came across during my research. Now, going back a little bit to the Peruvian mummies, you said this a little bit earlier. You've been following it since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
These mummies that we saw in the hearing, do you think they were replicants, or do you think they were the real deal?
Man, it's such that's, I hate to say, the oldest cliche in the book, right? That's the $1 million question. All I can say is that I have looked at and spoken to everybody on every side of this. Okay. I've looked at all the images on every point of view that you can. I am not convinced that it's BS. I'm not convinced that it's real, but I just don't feel it when I look at the x-rays. I don't feel it when I look at the skin. I don't feel like I am being deceived. I depend on my eyes, and that's where I'm at with this, but I have no idea. I don't think they don't look manufactured. When you, Cristina, you go into an antique store, little roadside antique store, and you look up and you see a stuffed raccoon, right? Some taxidermist, right? Put that thing together and you look, and it's got glass eyes. It's not alive. It's not real. You can look at it and see that it's not. Right. And if you take another closer look at it, you're going to see what a taxidermist has done to preserve something like this. All right. That's the stuff that I don't see with this. I don't. I'm a model maker. Okay. I build models. And if you've ever been to my house, you know that I build models. I have cases of models that I have built that are not on display. Boxes. Stacks, hundreds. I'm working on a very detailed model right now. It's this big, weighs about 30 pounds of a Ford GT40. I'm almost done with it. I have all the tools. I have all the Dremels. I have all the glues. I have all the chemicals. I have all the plastics and things and melts and heat guns and this and that. And I can build anything, and I'm really good at it. So I know what I'm looking at. And when I see that, I don't feel like if somebody put that together and has fooled everybody, they're good. They're really, really, really good, and they're in the long line of work. Come to Hollywood. Come to Hollywood right now and get a real job. you don't have to you don't have to fake alien mummies for no money. Come to Hollywood and get paid. I'm being straight up.
But if people didn't see the x-rays, the presentations, or even have any information about these mummies, they don't necessarily look like actually biological, like actual aliens. People mention they look like paper mache. Okay, I can get that. I think just seeing an image right off the bat, again, with no information that is attached to these mummies, I can get that. People are saying I could make it in a few days. It's super easy. It's a total hoax. The thing is that if we push the data aside and we only have the mummy, we only have the images, right? We don't actually know. But after these scans were conducted, after these presentations, and I cannot stress, these mummies are nothing new. They have been known about since 2017, 2018, and there have been a lot of tests done on these things since. But when we start bringing in the data, and you can find it on the website, I said a little bit earlier, but again, the website is called thealienproject.com, where scientists are going into detail on these mummies. They're showing the data. They're showing the metal alloys that have also been found in the mummies as well. And that for many adds a level of credibility. But could it all be fabricated? Could it all just be a total joke to make fun of people? I want to say I hope that's not the case.
Jimmy, you interviewed me in 2018 about the mummies. I spent 2 weeks examining the mummies this past June. There was so much info I would like to share. Please get in touch. William, you have my information, and reach out to me, and we'll make that happen. But this shows you, and I want everybody to understand, and it's good to hear from you, William. I've been involved with this since the very, very beginning. Okay, and I'm still on the fence. Oh, I'm just leaning a little bit more in this direction because I just look at that and just think it just doesn't look fake. It looks crazy. It looks nuts, but there's other parts of this that we have to consider. I remember Cristina. I'll make this quick. I was sent a bunch of video of, I don't want to say specifically who, but of a doctor at a university here in the United States looking at the x-rays. They've got them up, and she's taking a look. And I got to tell you, man, it was like, we're talking about an MD, a surgeon, right? Right? Huh. Okay. It wasn't like, okay, that's from this is no, okay, man, get this crap out of here. Right? No, that's not what happened. It was like, 3 fingers, the arms, the hips, the chest, the skull, the neck, popping these things, the big, you know what I mean? The glass boxes that they clip the x-rays up to, right? And they're looking, it was, and that says a lot. That says a lot. So, yeah.
These are interesting points, and I'm glad that we're having this conversation. And Carne Asada, amazing name, by the way. What do you say about the petroglyphs? Can you explain the petroglyph alien connection around the world? That's something that I don't think was mentioned in the hearing, and if so, I must have missed it.
Are you talking about the Nazca lines?
Oh, in that case, good point. And thank you so much for that. And James as well. This is an interesting point. The government of Mexico would allow someone to present a hoax to the world. The government of Mexico wouldn't require data before presenting these mummies to the world. This is an interesting thing because let's say if that were to be the case, it would make the entire country of Mexico look like a joke, right? So there's all of these different factors that we have to consider here, because not only are these people's credentials on the line, and there were a handful of people on the panel from all across the world sharing their testimonies, but it's also in a government building. People are saying that it was an official con- um, congressional hearing as well. So if that is the case, that wouldn't make the government of Mexico look very good if it was a hoax. But people are still skeptical, and I get that, because people have been asking for this for decades, and then it finally shows up and people are
Mhm.
frazzled. They're like, what's going on here? And I don't blame you. I really don't.
You bring up a really good point. I haven't heard anybody talk about this yet. What's the procedure, right, for doing a presentation like this in front of Congress in Mexico? Is it possible that they didn't know anything about anything, and that Jaime just sprung all of this on them, and he was allowed to do this without their prior knowledge? That's a really good point, and I
But
would
hold on,
love for
no, but
somebody to chime in.
back it up, Jimmy, back it up, because those coffins, they had to go through security.
Oh,
Since
sure.
this
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
government
Good
building.
point.
So
Good point. Good point.
they should have known about it, at least in the moment that it had to pass through security, probably in at least, what, an hour before the hearing?
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. Way to silence me. But I'm talking about an outline. What is going on? Who's going to speak? How long? Where are you going to be? I don't think you're able to do that in total secrecy. Now it's one thing to keep this from somebody like Ryan Graves. Maybe Ryan didn't ask. Maybe he thought it was something else. But
I mean,
Robert
what
Salas
would you
apparently didn't have
ask?
a problem. What's that?
What would you ask during
Yeah,
the
yeah.
hearing? Right, or
Well,
before the hearing, but before you show up? Are there gonna be alien bodies? I mean, you don't casually think that,
I know
right?
I don't ask about it, but I would have said, is Jaime Maussan going to be there? That's what I would have done. Jaime. Look, I kid Jaime. When I got to say this, I mentioned this yesterday during our presentation yesterday, but I introduced Jaime at a conference a couple of years ago, and I took some great pictures with him backstage, and I just found him to be just a really nice guy, really, really, well spoken and carries himself well. And after I introduced him, I was a little nervous. I was like, okay, I'm going to go and do this. But he gave a very, very amazing presentation, and I enjoyed it. I sat out in the audience. I didn't do it from backstage like I normally do. I went out and sat there and listened to everything that he had to say, and I thought it was amazing. I did. I really did. I didn't come away from that going, well, that's the rumors are true, right? The reputation is definitely earned here. No. It was the exact opposite. That doesn't mean he hasn't had egg on his face. He has stumbled many, many, many times.
But
And
this community isn't easy, and it's not forgiving either.
no, it's not. It's not forgiving. It takes years. And here's is he at the point where he doesn't care if he's going to go and stumble and trip and fall again, that he's just going to go out and do this? Well, okay, that's possible, maybe for television, but this is semi formal. This is semi official. This is a different thing. Also, he wasn't charging $100 a seat, right? $100. I mean, I'm being serious, like other events that he has done in the past, and that is something else that you have to take into consideration here. I don't think there was any money being made. There was money being spent for sure, but
In the
I don't see the
millions.
other side of it. Yeah, I don't see the other side of it. So I don't know, Cristina. Got to remain objective. We've got to stay in the middle. Cognitive dissonance, which I was talking about this earlier. When you've got those blinders on, and I wear them too. Don't misunderstand me. But when you've got those blinders on, there is nothing that anybody can do or say You're only going to be looking at your belief system and the world around you and the bubble that you live in. That's it. That's it. That's it. I'm entitled to change my mind. I do it from time to time. I do. But if that cognitive dissonance is got you, and most people have it, including me, if that is there, your mind is already made up on this. Your mind is already made up. So we'll see what the scientists have to say.
Hopefully there is more information to come. And Josh, thank you for that. And the consensus now, what is a definite hoax? We really need the data reviewed before saying it for sure. They do address the hoax in the hearing. And this is a great point and something that we've definitely been touching on throughout the show today. But yes, you're right. What is the definition of a hoax here? And it would be something that's classified as fake, right? Not real, not true. But for them to present this, it adds this level of question, right? At the very least. Now, right now, we have 4,256 people watching this live, 2,642 likes. Can we get to 3,000 likes? Let's get the algorithm to notice this, to open people's minds, and to tell them that Mexico had a UFO hearing, because people don't know about it. So please hit that like button right now. And thank you for everyone that's been supporting the channel so far. Y'all are amazing. And Karsten, thank you. Would you like to hear more about the DNA analysis? Like, if no reproductive organs, is there X and Y chromosomes or some different packaging? Those are in quotes. Also, are there any patterns or signatures to indicate they were engineered? So from my understanding, that website, again, called thealienproject.com, I'll place that link in the description box below, covers some aspects of that. But this is the question that a lot of people are having. Are there reproductive organs? And Jimmy, what can you say about that?
Eggs. So that's that part. Now, male and female. Now, Maria is called Maria for a reason. Okay. All right. So there's that part. The other part he mentioned, I think he mentioned suture marks or that was a question that I brought up from the very, very beginning. Now, apparently, just like us, our skin. Okay. So we have a few holes, right? Our eyes, nose, mouth, ears, right? A couple of others, right? And we know this. But the skin itself is continuous. Okay. The skin on Maria was continuous. Okay. Contiguous. Continuous. So it wasn't, and you would think that if it was manufactured in some way, you're going to have lines, you're going to have seams, and there wasn't. That was on Maria. Now, on these bodies, apparently it is the exact same situation. Now, I got it completely confirmed about Maria, that was continuous skin, that there was nothing, there were no seams or sutures. And I think that is the same situation here. And one other point I want to make before we get out of here is that there was a report that came out like 5 years ago. I have it somewhere. Somebody sent this to me, that these bodies that we're looking at here, are you ready? I don't want to freak people out, but this is just what I was told. It was human skin that was purchased. Okay. So in the manufacturing process, and I'm sure that that's possible to get, burn victims, whatever, right? Okay. It's possible to get that. How are you going to, now this was a claim that was sent to me, and my response back to that is, A, where do you get it? B, how do you form it and get it all over? And C, how do you age it? How do you reverse age that so it can be carbon dated to be 1,200 years old? I mean, how is that possible? And then somebody else, this is another researcher, somebody said it was pig skin that was used. Somebody else, again, this is Somebody told me it was horse skin. It was skin from a horse. It was like, what, man? Horse hide, really? Are you going to go there? You're going to go with pig skin? And even so,
There are a lot of potential explanations, but it's only those that have actually conducted the tests do their words matter. Everyone else in between, they're just merely opinions based off of a simple observation. Android, thank you. John, George, Bob, y'all are amazing. Thank you so much for that. Jimmy, thank you for doing this hearing analysis with me. You know, I always appreciate it.
Yeah, fantastic. And tonight, Christina's going to come hang out with me and help me. An AMA tonight, so you can ask me anything. I wonder what we're going to be talking about tonight. I wonder where the interest is, Christina. What do you think?
In everything. Hopefully the hearing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jimmy.
What a crazy week. I'll see everybody tonight on Fade to Black. Behave and be well. Thank you, Christina. Another great show.
Always a great show. Thank you for everyone watching this live. Thank you for all the super chats, super stickers, everyone that is a YouTube member and Patreon supporter. I simply cannot do this show without you. Tomorrow, great, exciting news. This is like a crazy week for this channel. Tomorrow, we will be streaming the NASA briefing, where they will be talking about their UFO findings, UAP findings. So you don't want to miss that. It'll be at 7 a.m. PST, 10 a.m. EST. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you do not miss it. And then Friday will be Strange News at 3 p.m. PST, where I'll be covering all the weird news and mysterious headlines from around the world. Follow me on Twitter at eyes_on the skies for all of my updates and news. And then also check out my Instagram at Strange Paradigms, where I share photos and short videos as well. Also, if you want to continue this conversation, bring it over to the Discord server. I know one of my amazing moderators will share that link in the live chat. Speak with 2,000 other like-minded members. Share your thoughts, your insights, your experiences, and more. That is it for today. I will see you early tomorrow morning. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies.